there are big feelings or big doings around me. I check in with God, who reminds me that whatever I'm about to face is not quite the emergency I imagine, and I take my cues from there. That's what people in crisis need from God and God's customer service reps, those of us offering first-line spiritual support. Someone recently devastated by the unimaginable looks into our face as they would look into a mirror. What they hope to see is that they will get through this. And they will. We have, all of us, so far survived everything we've been through to one degree or another. We know because we are still here. As for those who didn't survive, those who have died by their own hand or another's, by the villains of cancer or other catastrophes, my take is a question. Do we really know they haven't survived too? More on that later. When I began writing this book, I was sheltering in place along with 40 million other Californians, as well as people in every other state and around the world. We were hiding out not from a mass shooter or an alien invasion, but a microscopic virus similar in design to the common cold that we were told could kill up to 3% of the global population. Maybe this qualified as an emergency? 8 weeks into the shelter order, the biggest problem in our house was that my husband was rationing toilet paper. I told him he could decide how many squares per week I could have when he grew a vagina. Meanwhile, India, a country with 1 billion people, went into lockdown with only 4 hours' notice. Not enough time to purchase rice and beans, let alone toilet paper. This pandemic changed all of our lives. It also ended many of our lives. My biggest problem wasn't really the TP. Besides the expected anxieties about getting sick, my asthmatic children getting sick, or my elderly dad dying alone, I was sick at heart because I couldn't do my job the way I wanted to. Prudence and the internet dictated that with my skill set, the most heroic thing I could do was stay home and binge watch something called Tiger King. I craved a larger purpose. My arms ached from the hugs bottled up inside them. I wanted to get back to work, helping people make meaning, if not sense, from the terrible things that happened to them. And I wanted to be able to do it in person, with a hand on their arm and with a gaze directly into their eyes. Because as much as I believe in God, and as much as I have felt the purely spiritual presence of God throughout my life, I need God to show up with skin on at regular intervals. We need a solid someone who can help us feel the ground beneath our feet when fear or anxiety or anger are spinning out of control. A someone to restore us to sanity, generosity, patience, and peace. We need a someone who teaches us how to do it for someone else. Otherwise, we might die alone in our billionaire bunkers or MMA fighting in aisle 3 over the last container of disinfecting wipes. I wanted to get back to work as this someone for others, because I've had so many someones do it for me. When I was young, everything felt like an emergency. My mother had incapacitating clinical depression and anxiety. My stepfather was a mentally ill alcoholic. My loving yet conflict-averse father followed my mother's whims about visitation and custody, hoping to stay on her good side, afraid of losing access to us entirely. I often felt like I was on my own, fending for myself. I was on my own, but not alone. Angels accompanied me unawares. My Head Start teachers in preschool, the public librarian who let me read the 2nd grade books in 1st grade, my middle school drama teacher, Mr. Casey. They all made safe new worlds for me to escape into when mine was too bleak. I took shelter in grades and achievement, a trusty launchpad to rocket me out of the poverty and chaos that often dogged my early life. But even with angels beside me and a path before me, my emotions careened wildly. Until I turned 28, I pretty much cried nearly every